Wow. Here it is, guys. It's the Rockets round robin. Here we are as a bunch of us collective Houston Rockets fans. There's a lot of familiar faces up here that you guys know. You guys know my boy Dante from the H-Town Rundown in his own channel. You know my boy Ryan that's down there. He got his own thing going on. He's also on the H-Town Rundown. You know me, your main host, Preston, on the H-Town Rundown. But guess what? We're doing a separate special thing, guys. We got a lot of people joining us, and hopefully some other future guys coming on. We got our boy Slaughter here from the group chat, man. We got AK Infinity. This guy actually won some free tickets. Yes, sir. Yes, he did. And we got our boy Rockets enthusiast over here, Mr. Gorman. Guys, how is everybody? And how exciting is it to get all these people up here together? Slaughter, man, can we start with you, brother? I mean, I feel like I know you the least out of the group, and maybe introduce us to yourself to the community for sure.
Sure. Yeah. Obviously, Twitter handle there at Slaughter. I've been around the streets, if you will, for a long time. I remember I've had Twitter since like 2008. I remember whenever they were just tweeting nonsense, because no one even knew it. There was just words into the ether, So I've been around a while. I'm excited. It's always fun to see fresh faces with fresh takes, fresh information. I like learning from everyone. I've learned a lot from a lot of people in this group. Some of the people here, and then some of the people that may come on later shows. And it's just a pleasure to be here and talk with you guys.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. That's so nice. I like how we get a little bit of a piece from the Houston Rockets community. It's nice to see someone who can have a real conversation these days. AK, man, what's good, man? Why are you sitting there like that, bro? What's good?
Man, I'm chilling, man. I'm actually in like I said, I'm out of town right now. I'm in what they call it, Southern Oklahoma, Dallas, whatever. Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. But yeah, man, y'all follow your boy on Twitter at AK_Infinity _VVS. Holla at me on my YouTube channel too, the Rockets Propaganda channel. Yeah, we finna get this round robin going though.
This man is 10 toes deep as a Rockets fan. He's got a lot of interesting takes, and it's very fun, and I love to hear it. Now, Mr. Gorman, man, you sitting over there chilling. You probably got the most fire background out of all of us right now. What's good, brother?
How we doing today, fellas?
Man, we doing good, man. We doing
good here. It's looking good here. I'm in sunny Florida. We've had a long day of football conditioning and Little League baseball scrimmaging. But I'm excited to be on the H-Town Rundown round robin. Follow me on Twitter at Gorman Christoph. I just love to talk Rockets basketball, and I'm excited to be on here today. Very grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure to have you on. Now we'll work on getting that mic situated later on, but for right now, it'll have to do. It'll have to do. But guys, look at this, guys. Look at this collective group of a bunch of Rockets fans just coming together to talk Rockets ball. And what better way to do that is, a few days pre-draft, right? So let's talk pre-draft, right? Dante, Ryan, and I have exhausted a lot of options for what we want to do for pick 3, whether it's trading up, trading down, trading out, doing nothing, sitting on our hands. I mean, giving it away for Ben Simmons for crying out loud. But guys, what are your thoughts? I want to start with propaganda over here, man. Like pick 3, right? We were kind of doing some GM talk, right? So I just want to put you in the driver's seat real quick. If you the GM, right? You said the GM, you got pick 3 right now. It's draft night. It's right before number 1 goes. We don't even know who number 1 will be yet. I mean, for all we know, like we say, in the Hawks might draft a QB, right? So we don't even know who's going to be at 2. It might be Zach. Sarr might be available at 3. But what's the first thing you do with pick 3? I mean, immediately, regardless of the draft.
Oh, man. First of all, I'm consulting my big board. I got to look at my big board, man, if my guy is there at my pick, at pick 3, if I feel good, I'm going to take it. But otherwise, honestly, man, I'd rather trade back, recoup some assets, and, draft somebody who can sit on the bench and be a project, because we already got enough guys that enough young guys that need playing time still. We're still trying to figure out who is who. And, before we start giving out extensions and whatnot, we need to see who's worth the extension. We need to see what we look like in a playoff setting. So adding another young piece at pick 3 and forcing them to have to play, that's just going to throw a big monkey wrench into a lot of plans. And I don't know if we had a capacity to have to deal with that once again. We got bigger goals. I think it'll probably be a smarter thing to trade back.
All right, AK, I'm gonna throw a question at you, AK. So obviously me, Preston, and Dante, we've done our rounds about who we want in the draft. Obviously some trades, whether it's realistic or not realistic. So now I'm gonna ask you a question, right?
Yeah.
Pick 3. If we're drafting, who do you want? If we're not drafting, we trade either down or trade for a player. What are you thinking?
Who do I if I'm picking, who do I want?
Picking with pick 3.
If I'm picking, who's on the board?
That's your big board. I mean,
because Atlanta, they
realistically, let's just keep it realistic.
Man, realistically, I'm going to assume that Sarr and Ricochet are off the board. That's what I'm going to assume.
All right.
If that's the case, honestly, in our situation, I'm not saying that this is what they'll do, but I would probably guess I'd probably go in and grab Reed Shepherd.
There we go.
Only because he brings an immediate skill set that we can use, and he's going to get time because he has a skill set that nobody else really has to that degree. So we know he'll get some time, and he can play with just about any, semblance of players in the front court. So,
so you also mentioned trading down, right? What would you trade down, and who?
If I'm trading down, my target player that I'd want is what's his name? Khalil Ware. That's who I want if I'm trading down. I don't know who would want to, work with me. There's Utah, there's Portland, there's Memphis, Charlotte too, possibly. They probably would want to move up to the 3rd pick. I don't know. It depends on whoever wants to work with me. I don't know that any of those teams have a player or assets that I want back outside of Memphis. Well, Memphis, I like the Marcus Smart thing. I ain't gonna lie.
What about you mentioned Portland, right? I mean, potentially getting Anthony Simons. That's like Kevin Porter Jr. without the attitude.
Bruh, I'm telling you this, man. If Portland has sniffed enough non-healthy exhaust fumes and they want to give me Anthony Simons for that little of a deal, I'm taking it, and we're gonna find a way to play him some way, somehow. If he got come off the bench. But if Portland that stupid, I'm taking advantage because it's smart to take advantage of stupid.
Yeah, it's KPJ without the 2 A's.
Yeah,
man. Allegations.
Yeah, bro, and that works for us in a lot of ways. But now I want to go back before we move on to our next guy. You mentioned Sir Ware, Khalil Ware. What do you like about him? He's not a guy that I'm hearing a lot of buzz about. Not very many people are really, talking about this guy as openly as you. In fact, you're the first person to bring it up on a podcast I've listened to within recent memory. So I'm interested. What is your reasoning for Khalil Ware, and what attracts you to this guy?
Man, again, I'm looking at players who bring a skill set or at least a dimension to the team that we don't already have. He's shot blocker. He's tall as hell. He's athletic, and he's got some shooting chops to him as it is already. Mm-hmm. Who else on this team has that skill set? Really?
Well, when you say it like that, it reminds me of a certain power forward we drafted to have that skill set.
You talking about
yes.
Talking about Bari?
Talking about Bari,
He ain't a vertical threat like Ware is. He ain't a vertical threat. He's not a shot blocker. He's a defender, but he's not a shot blocker.
He's a weak side shot blocker. It's like what Giannis does.
You talking about Bari?
Yeah. Weak side shot blocker.
Nobody from the weak side like that. He'll help, but he's not. He ain't out there being an eraser from the weak side. Khalil Ware can be that. Okay. Amen Thompson, I think, has close to as many blocks as Jabari did on the season, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that.
Amin Thompson is more of a shot blocker than Barry is. Barry is a help defender, but he's not necessarily a shot blocker. Honestly, the whole shot blocking thing, that particular stat, I think it kind of gets overblown anyway, because the point is to protect the rim. As long as 2 points don't go on the board, I mean, that's kind of the point, right?
Fair. Now, would you say, Khalil, where I'm not sure how old he is. I'm not sure his metrics, but he performed well at the NBA draft prospect, the combine, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. And that's kind of what initially piqued my interest, but then I got folded back into, I looked into SAR, and he just completely took away any hopes I thought I had of looking at this guy, Khalil Ware, but he seems pretty promising. He might have a future here again. I'm looking at that Portland deal saying, man, 7-14 and Simons for 3 Tate and Jock. You can go ahead and take all of that immediately.
Hey man, y'all can have it. I might even be nice and give you something else too, just to be nice.
And honestly, Jock and DeAndre Ayton got chemistry. I mean, they played over in Phoenix. Not that they got along at all, but they played over the same area. So you can go ahead and let them fight for starter, because Ayton is not looking like that number 1 pick anyway.
Yeah, and they both put up almost around the same numbers.
Yeah, man, 0, 0, and 0. We like a triple single guy. It's really nice. But I digress. This is not jock talk. Search Slaughter. Oh yeah, he knew. He knew.
Chris, what do you think we should do, Chris, with the pick? Trade, keep?
Yeah, bro. That mic,
Chris,
man,
we
I'm
cannot
so
hear
sorry,
you, bro. Your mic is all.
I'm so sorry. Yo.
All right, we'll come back to you, Chris. What do you think, Slaughter?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so just reading the tea leaves here. I mean, I think that this whole draft is unusual from a whole bunch of different dynamics. The fact that there's just uncertainty at 1 just really makes everyone else be in a holding pattern until something happens to ensure that that there becomes a structure to it. So if as it stands right now, if Atlanta is taking the pick, it seems like they would take Klingon. And if that happens, then our choice is between, Reed and Rishashir. It seems like Sar is, they've considered a quote unquote lock to go to Washington. I think either of those guys would be good for us just because they solve an immediate problem that we have, which is shooting, right? I like Rishashir's profile for us a little more than Reed's. I know that Reed potentially has more upside, but I like the fact that, I think Rishashir checks all the boxes for every set of decision makers that our team has. That he has the defensive versatility that Ime likes. He has the shooting that that the team needs. I don't know if he has the upside that Stone usually goes for in these like top 3 picks that he's or top 4 picks when he's done Amin, Jalen, Jabari. Those guys have all had immense upside. So maybe he would prefer Reed over Rishashir. But I mean I think that either way you go with one of those two, that you'll be able to work them into the lineup at some point this year for sure. And then, just having talent up and down the roster as this team gets more expensive, as trades are made, these guys can either be trade fodder, they can be step in when someone gets traded, like, obviously with Jalen or Jabari or Amin or Cam, whatever, one of those guys gets traded, Reed or Rishashir can step right in and do some of the things that those guys do, right? So I think that's kind of, you got to always be refilling the coffers. As far as a trade down, I don't mind the idea of it, but there's the idea of a trade down happening to me, unless San Antonio jumps to 1 with, and they're obviously they want Rishashir, so they would jump to 1 to take him. I don't see a trade down happening just because of all the uncertainty at 1 otherwise. And I think everyone else has basically got to hold in place. And I was just going through and I was looking back, well, when is a top 5 pick been traded down on draft night? There's the Luka and Trey trade. And before that, I was going back to 2007 and I hadn't found one. It just almost never happens. So I think there's a lot of moving parts that have to happen. And you got to have like 10 different things lined up already for it to happen. And I just don't think it's just difficult to do. Perhaps it can happen after the fact, but I think you have to wait 30 days, right? That's like the rule.
Yep.
But I just don't see a trade down happening on draft night. And then I was looking at our trade partners, right? Who would we trade with? I know that, Marcus Smart has been talked about with Memphis because Memphis wants Klingon, but of course Memphis has to understand that Klingon's going to be there. They're not going to trade today knowing that they don't even know if Klingon's going to be at 3. So that has to happen trade night. Well, do we want Marcus Smart? I mean, I think he's an Ime guy, or whatever, but I don't know that he really moves the needle for the team, at least in my opinion. I think Reed can step in and play some backup point guard, or at least duel it off with Jalen. And then the other options, Utah. I think Utah's a little more interesting because we have Markkanen here, right? Now Markkanen is definitely a player that I think moves the needle for the team, provides something that we don't have, but at what cost? There's a lot more moving parts. We'd have to do Jabari, your guy Jock Landale. And then what kind of picks are we talking about? We're talking about
remember that's Danny Ainge over there now. He gonna want the house.
And 26 and 27. I mean, what are we doing? Right.
Yeah, he gonna want
right.
everything.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so I mean, he's difficult to deal with. So I just think it's unlikely that a trade down happens.
Interesting. So what are you doing overall?
But yeah, so that's kind of my take. I think it's in between Reed or Rishashir. I would be happy with either of those guys. I'm not the biggest Reed fan, if anyone's seen my tweets about it, but I understand what he brings and I understand the potential upside. I think if he ends up being like a really, really, really good ball handler, then I think that he can reach his upside. But he does provide something that we don't have.
I like your take about Reed. I think it's interesting about how you're not the biggest fan of him and how you actually tweet about that, because I saw a tweet today that was pretty much the complete opposite of what you just said. I saw a tweet today that said something about being happy for the Warriors' downfall, that Klay Thompson isn't going back to the Warriors, so the Rockets get the next generational shooter or something like that. So, speaking of tweets, did y'all see that one just delusional tweet about someone said Alperen Sengun, Jalen Green, blah, 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 for mid-call Bridges?
Yeah, bro.
Did y'all see that?
Yeah, and it was like 4 first-round picks or something, too, for Bridges and
I hope that was in jest. I assume.
Whoever suggested that is sniffing paint or glue or paint thinners or something. They sniffing something wrong.
Who's the next GM? What's his name?
What's this fool's name? Sean Marks.
Oh, all right. That's his burner account. That's what he wants. That's who he thinks McCall Bridges is.
Mikhail Jordan, man.
That man ain't got no accolades, but you trying to trade for him.
He said no accolades.
He got no accolades, man.
He's got no VC to spend.
Jeez, dog. What are we talking about here with Mikhail Bridges? Now, don't get me wrong. He is an upgrade at the 3 spot for us for sure. But dog, I'm not giving up. If Brooklyn won all their picks back, listen. What if they smart? They need to go collect a whole bunch of bad contracts and get some draft capital along with them bad contracts, and then come call us come trade deadline and say, "Hey, Stone, I understand. We've been going back and forth for some months. I got some draft capital for you. Can we have our draft picks back? And we're gonna give you some more draft picks from other teams." If they're smart, that's what they'll do. But they're not smart. And
I was gonna say,
I'm just gonna say this now, so I can come back to this in a year. We have the Nets pick next year.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, I think it's more likely the Nets. It's more likely the Nets choose. I mean, keep it as is or make a trade. I think than deal with us. I mean, they've just been so reluctant to. I just can't imagine them. I mean, maybe they parlay the Suns picks into Mitchell or something, but I mean, I think that's substantially more likely to happen than them either sitting pat or us getting Bridges.
Yeah,
why would Mitchell want to go there? He's gonna go over there to do what? And with who?
He gonna play
with Cam Thomas in the backcourt.
That's the future. Cam Thomas, Donovan Mitchell, Mikhail Jordan. All right, and you got Ben Simmons running power forward, and Nicholas Claxton. You better watch out, bro.
Ben Simmons.
That's possibly the 10th seed over in the East. All right, you better watch out.
He said 10th seed in the East.
They'd be like they almost got the 10th seed this year. They'd be like the 7th seed.
They
almost got the 10th seed, and we got their third pick.
If
they almost got it this year, and they were terrible.
If they trading for D. Mitch, somebody got to go. Somebody of value. But if the Cavs are going to trade Donovan Mitchell to the Nets, they're going to want some picks. They're going to want the Nets picks, not the Suns picks, I would assume. Because the Nets got the Suns picks.
Yeah,
what if
those Suns picks don't mean anything until something actually happens.
Exactly. But we know Brooklyn is bad. And again, there's a roundabout way that they can go. They can go and do that. But like I said, man, what they're going to have to do is collect some bad contracts over the next few months up until the trade deadline, along with some good draft capital with them bad contracts, and use that to start trading. First of all, get your picks back from the Rockets, and then make other moves going into the summer if they're actually smart. But again, we talking about Sean Marks here.
But they can do stuff. I mean, like for instance, they could
keep rebuilding other teams' franchises. I mean, they just helped Boston win a chip. So they might as well.
They're about to help us win a chip too.
And we could potentially get Cooper Flag next year.
Right. Yeah. We're not touching 2025. Listen, the longer the Brooklyn Nets wait to do what I said to enact this plan, the worse off they're gonna be for it. So if they're smart, they need to start moving now. They need to go the roundabout way because the straight up way ain't gonna work for them right now.
The Brooklyn Nets are good at one thing, and it's rebuilding other franchises. That's it.
We appreciate them.
Oh, we appreciate them, all right. Don't you worry. Oh man, talk about gifted. Yeah, bro. It's Christmas every draft year with the Brooklyn Nets picks, man. It's phenomenal. If you want to top
could do other stuff too, right? I mean, Brooklyn they could take gambles on some like distressed assets or assets that people are down on. Like, what if they include Ben Simmons in a trade for John Collins or something like that? I mean, they can make like. I mean, I don't think John Collins is great, but he's better than Ben Simmons just sitting there.
Okay, well, there's a lot of people better than
I'm just saying they could throw together Mitchell, Collins, Bridges, Claxton,
Nicolau out there with Ben Simmons, and Kostas is beating him.
You could put LeBron.
You got to get off of something of value.
You could put Kevin Durant back on the Nets with LeBron and Steph Curry, and that team is still not even making it out of the first round because of the way the team works, puts together, and the way the front office is just an absolute dumpster.
I agree with you. But they can make our life. They can just ruin the value.
That's LeBron. That's why it's not working. You saw what happened.
But I'm talking about Brooklyn. Who's the head coach in Brooklyn?
Jock Vaughn.
Jock Vaughn.
Yeah,
Chris,
didn't they get off of him?
Cameras off. And,
they fired Jock Vaughn.
I could have sworn they got off of him.
No, they got a new coach. I forgot his name.
Did they really?
Huh?
Did they really? Wow.
Yeah, they already got their coach. They already got their new coach. I forgot his name though, but they got their coach.
Man, that's should have waited.
They could have in the NBA because they don't have no direction.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
can y'all hear me?
Rockets.
Yes,
bro.
Silas
when he got the Rockets, there was no direction. Silas on the Pistons, there's definitely no direction.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a direction. It's just an indirection.
Yeah, it's just being ass.
Their direction is downward spiral into black hole going nowhere.
There's a direction. Like I said, it's just indirect. You're going down just in a roundabout way.
Man, speaking of roundabout, Chris, welcome back from the dead, man. It's good to have you.
We need your takes now.
Chris,
now. Okay, at 3, I'm being fluid with my draft. I want to see what everybody's offering. All the way down. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way down. If I can acquire assets, I mean, we know what these teams are wanting to do. They're not going to trade down. Memphis isn't trading down to get Reed Shepherd, so we know who they're going after. And if he's on the board at 3, we can slide back a little bit and possibly still get our guy. If not, I think we need to have a good backup plan, and I wouldn't be afraid to stash one in the G League, put them up with that good developmental group, and then when a big trade comes available, he's another piece that we can add to our collection of picks to send somewhere that is not in our core 6. We already have a big problem financially coming up. Mm-hmm. Why are we going to add a 3rd round pick to it or a 3rd overall pick to it and especially somebody that has limitations. I am a Reed Shepherd guy off the bench all day, but I don't like the idea that he might take away from Amen's developmental minutes. I do not like that he will be a negative on-ball defender with Jalen Green in the backcourt. I feel like the bigger wing teams, like, you just saw Boston win with that exact thing. Whenever there was an issue in their kink in their armor on defense, as far as Dallas was concerned, they just kept attacking it. And if we're going to put our eggs in him becoming a Fred VanVleet type at that size, I just don't see it. I just don't see him being able to leverage. He doesn't shoot off the screens very much. I think the spacing is great, and it offers us a dimension. But I don't think that dimension needs to be on a 3rd overall pick. And I just don't feel like that's good value for the Rockets and Reed Shepherd.
So you've got 3 though, right? Are you say you choose to pick? Who is your guy? Because you're talking about a guy at 3, right?
Now, there you go. I'm taking Reed if my offers aren't good enough.
Okay.
If I can slide back to like 5 and still have a good chance at Reed, I'm taking him. And, a lot of these guys you hear about Castle, teams liking Castle, and people that like, I like guys like that we can stash and become a good trade piece that, most people like Jarris Walker right now is getting talked about. And now they just paid Siakam, and he's a good piece for Indiana. And so if they choose to trade him, oh man, they can get something back without leveraging their future. I think that's important with this new CBA. And if we can get a few more things, a few more assets, I'll take it. I'll just take a few more.
All right, Chris, I actually really like your take about like the taking away from a men's developmental minutes, because actually what I was saying yesterday on the podcast was, in my dream scenario, if we could trade out of the draft and maybe just keep, what is it, the 44th? What do we have?
It's the 44th.
Yeah, if we could just take that and draft Shed, because Shed has potential as a small guard, great defensive player. If we could just keep that and then trade our 3rd out of the draft, I would be happy to do that, because that keeps our core 6's developmental minutes.
All righty. Before we move on and continue the conversation, I'd like everyone to welcome our boy, Andy.
DJ.
Andy is finally here, man. What's good, Andy, man? Everyone knows he's from the Touch City Connect. He has been on the H-Town Rundown recently with an ongoing What If series we got going on. But right now, we're here for this outside the H-Town Rundown universe, for our own multiverse episode, if you will, for a collective of a bunch of the H-Town Rundown guys and a bunch of the, just in general, Houston Rockets community members. And it's good to have Andy on here. We've just had a bunch of takes, and you just missed probably one of the better explanations of what to do with pick 3 from our boy, Sir Gorman, over here. But what's good, man? How are you?
Man, I'm doing good. I apologize, guys. Actually, fell asleep. I apologize, y'all. So, if you can, please excuse me. I do work early in the morning. I work 5 a.m. to 1. That is a pretty brutal shift, man, but it's lovely because you could get to get off early at the same time. So, I'll pop in for a little while, come talk to you guys, and then I gotta catch my Z's again.
For sure, man. For sure. Well, it's good to have you. And thanks for joining us today. Now, Ryan, you were in the middle of something before I so rudely interrupted you. You were discussing with Gorman moving something around. So continue that, please.
Yeah. So my take was just, if we could just trade pick 3 out of the draft, give us let's just trade out of the draft, keep 44, draft Shed. And so we don't have 3. That means that we don't have to bring in like a young guy who has potential, because this draft is kind of weak. It's not weak. It's one of the weakest drafts in a while. So I think that we just keep our core 6, draft Shed, have him as a backup point guard. That's a great defensive mind. He's kind of like a Ben Thompson, just a little shorter, can't really shoot, great at defense. So let's just draft him, lose pick 3 for Marcus Smart or something, which is fine with me. And then we have our core 6. And then we give them those developmental minutes that they need. And then we just build a dynasty with our core 6.
Let me ask you this, though, Ryan. If Shed is off the board, Who's the guy at 44? Because
44?
Shed, I think he might start getting some buzz closer to the draft.
Yeah.
It's just something I think is gonna happen. I don't know nothing about nobody, but he might start getting some buzz. Players like that usually get buzz closer to the draft. So if he ain't on the board, who we going for at 44?
I haven't even thought about that. I'm not gonna lie.
I got one pick and one pick only, and if it's not him, I don't know what I'm doing with it.
Look. I'm a Houston man. I just want to keep Jamal Shead here.
I understand, dog.
But no, seriously, I really haven't thought about that too much. And it's definitely
with
not
a couple
going
guys.
Jamal. You should not
What
be
are you
going to
getting
this
back?
draft.
What are you getting back for your three? You're saying just a smart level player, a Marcus Smart level player?
For me, honestly, it's not that big of a deal to me who we get, because even just cash, money is fine with me, or a pick.
Yeah.
Because what I really want is that I want to see our core six develop together. And so we also re-sign them in the future and then just build a dynasty with them.
Maybe
you don't want to set the market for pick number 3 at some cash, though. You don't want to do that.
No. The PR on that wouldn't be so nice.
Ooh,
I mean,
Memphis got 39. Just throw 39 in there with 44 and try to jump up and get Shed.
I mean,
Even
you could
that
still
is
take
a-
on 9 for Memphis and draft a guy like Sijuan
Dalton Connect.
or Saluan or whatever. That's like a developmental guy that you could throw in the G League for a whole
Might
year.
not even be available. I think the run on 3-and-D wings with that size are just going to, as soon as Matas falls, I think people are going to take them. I think people are going to run them down. Cody Williams,
I think
Dalton Connect, all those guys are.
Those two guys are my guys, man.
Gone.
Those two guys are my
I think
guys.
Buzelis is going to be like a Cam Whitmore type of draft pick. I think he's just going to fall because of his injury, and that he's going to get picked 20th or 21st.
See, in the trade
He's
scenario,
going to fall like that because of his injury, but then he'll be picked up by a team, and it's going to be a great pick for them. Because I'm a big Buzelis fan. So
interesting.
in a trade scenario, if we was to trade down, that's who I'm going for. I'm either going for Dalton Connect or Cody Williams. That if we trade down, because those two guys are my guys. Cody Williams, it can be actually a very great 3-and-D player. He's also a very good 3-point shooter. And Dalton Connect from Tennessee, he can shoot the ball very good, and he can get to the rim. So if we was in a trade down scenario, if we trade pick number 3. If we trade pick number 3, recruit some more assets, those are the two options that I'm actually going for is Cody Williams and Connect.
Can somebody tell me why Cody Williams isn't a better prospect than Jalen Williams was coming out? Just please tell me why he wasn't. That's
a good question.
I don't get it. He's shooting better than
decision
him.
making.
Freshman year at 19 years old. And, Jalen was in there at, weaker competition, and he didn't even catch 40%. And, it's on low volume with Cody. I get that. But, the frame's going to fill out.
That's what I was thinking. I'm thinking it's because he's
his
super
brother's
smart.
19 years old, guys.
And it's also, I think he dealt with the injury too. I think that's one thing.
Two of them.
He dealt with 2 injuries. Yeah.
Start with an early wrist injury, and then he had an orbital fracture that those are difficult to play with. And he played better competition than Jalen Williams did. And having a brother that's in there, and Jalen Williams, as good as he is, he's a smart basketball player, and every IQ thing that I see out of Cody Williams has just been off the charts. The guy is a smart basketball player. He's going to make the right play. Hey, he's got a handle at 6'9". We don't have to deal with that Barry stuff.
Very smooth.
Dang, man, get off my man's bar, dog.
for real, AK.
He finished at 74% at the rim. Come on, guys. He attacks the paint. He can attack a closeout and finish.
Yeah.
Even if the guy is stashed in our G League and he's torching the G League, we could get something for the guy at the deadline that would be so helpful for us if we're going on a run.
Here's my question. In this draft, if you're trading down, are you looking to just acquire someone in the draft at that spot just because, regardless of fit? Say you take that Portland trade, right? Because I just love that trade. You get 7 and 14, right? Are you trading for fit, or are you just trading to hold? Play a game of a Mexican standoff. See who wants to move first. Yeah, with 7 and 14. Are you picking at 7 and 14 and holding on to them, or if you get 7 and 14, are you immediately are you taking calls? Are you calling people?
I think everybody would know
Wait,
if you
who's
take
on the
7 and
board at
14.
7, though?
Everybody would know they're not keeping them. They got to go, and I think that's gonna make it hard to make a deal because it's pretty obvious. It would be very obvious.
And there's a lot of players that could be on the board. If everyone is interested where I'm at right now, I went to the NBADraftRoom.com once again. I love using them. They're very, very accurate. They updated it. It hasn't been updated today because it is the weekend, Saturday, but it was updated yesterday. When we were on the podcast yesterday, earlier in the day, they had us taking Reed Shepherd at 3. That's what they had us taking.
Of course they did.
They must have updated it later on in the day because they have us now taking Donovan Clingan at 3. And I'm looking, and Reed Shepherd has fallen all the way to 5 to the Pistons.
If
That's
we
terrible
draft
for
Donovan
Pistons,
Clingan, I'm going to change my
Terrible
Twitter
pair of
username
Pistons.
to Trust Rockets fan.
So my point stands of 7 and 14, right?
Okay.
On the board, based on this, Matis Bezulis. I don't know how to say his name, but
Bezelis. I think it's Bezelis, no?
Gotcha. NB over there. He's going to be available at 7. That's a guy that's going to be available at 7. And then for 14, you might have Rob Dillingham, Ron Holland, Nikola Topic, Zach Eddy, because we like to get edgy in here. And then there's other guys like Kel'el Ware you could take at 14. Or even if you want to take a swing at this Isaiah Collier guy, because he seemed pretty promising.
He seems
before.
cold.
Very good.
Yeah, he was just in a bad team.
Yes, and
Poorly coached.
Who's that remind you of?
In a bad squad. In a bad
Who's that remind you of a top player that came out of a draft and was playing on an absolute dog shit team with a dog shit coach? Just reminds me of somebody. It's incredible. So my question again is: you got 7 and 14. Do you even want to move, or do you just want to pick? Right? There's a lot of guys I'm looking at here that could be on the board, even as low as 14. Or I mean, if we really want to take a swing, and we want to trade down from 14, we got 7. Say we want to draft Dalton Connect at 7. Right? I've seen Dalton Connect fall all the way to 13 in some people's big boards. We could take Dalton Connect at 7 hypothetically. 14, we could do anything with. We could flip it, turn it around. We could pair it up with 44 to make sure we stay in the first round. And get down and maybe get someone on a bad contract too, get a veteran. I don't know. That's just very interesting. But I'm interested, Sir Slaughter. What are you doing with pick 14 if we make that kind of trade?
Yeah, I mean, I think 14 would be interesting. I don't have that board in front of me, but I mean, guys in that range, Cody Williams, like we've talked about, Collier, I think is definitely a guy. Like if we pick Connect at 14 or at 7, then I think a guy like Collier who can be a backup point guard definitely was. I wouldn't say it was a weakness because I think Aaron Holiday played decently, right, for us last year. But it's something that could be improved upon, and definitely something we'll probably need moving forward. So I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind that at all. I think he could probably use a little bit of time in the G League, but I think he's very good. The Jacoby Walker is interesting to me, but he's more of a bucket getter. I don't know how many of those guys we can have on this team, but
can never have too many guys who can score bucket, man.
You can never have
too much, man. I mean,
never.
If you got a guy who's 6'5" and he's got a wingspan of 6'10" and a half,
yeah,
you know what I mean.
I think he's like one of the more interesting prospects that I haven't heard as much talked about as other folks. I mean, he just really he needs a different mindset, and so I think that's what the G League could do for him, because he's going to have to carve out a different kind of role than he's really ever had going into the NBA, and that can be difficult for guys. So the time to develop would be, I think, really good for him. But then you could also take Ware. Everyone's high on him. I mean, if you really just want to go straight up shooting, You could do the Furphy guy from Kansas. I mean, he's
Yeah.
like Duncan Robinson, I guess, but I think he's a little more athletic than what Duncan Robinson was. But I mean, he's 6'9". I mean, that's huge. He's just really skinny.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities that we could do, and I think that opened up a lot more possibilities than what I thought possible. Going with 7-14, I just something about this list just screams potential. Like pick. I think we should call Portland, man. I think I was kind of stewing on it, and I was really thinking like, man, Memphis, that'd be really nice, get Marcus Smart, but I don't know, man. I think Portland just needs to give it up, man. I think they just need to.
I just don't think it's realistic for us to add 2 more people. I think that's kind of the issue that I have with it. More than
here's where I come with that is that's what the G League is for. They play spot minutes. They mainly play in the G League. And if we're like, damn, Fred has played 90 minutes in the last 2 games, let's sit him, let him men run something, and we'll bring this rookie up. And I'm not saying we're going to chalk it up to a scheduled loss, but it would be good experimentational run for our guys to get, have them in the veteran role, right? Jalen and Şengün being your top guys out there with Cam, Amen, and then the rookie that we pick, right? No problem with that. And yes, the issue is there's only so many minutes in a basketball game, right? There's only so many minutes you can delegate to players all the time. But at the end of the day, you have a roster of 15. And if you want to fill that roster with a bunch of players that can just do everything, you got to do that. I hate the Boston Celtics, but look what the Celtics did, dude. I mean, they got what's his name? What was it? Peyton Pritchard out there hitting the half court shots. I ain't never seen that, man. Like, who is you? And then you got number 30 for the Boston Celtics.
Hey, bro, Preston, don't get me wrong. I'm a Celtics hater. I hate the Celtics, but that man Peyton Pritchard.
Yeah, no,
he's someone cold.
No.
Nah, he's a shooter.
Yeah, he's a real shooter.
So brings back to my point of we can't have enough people on the team. You can't have enough good people on the team for reasonable contracts because the better your team is, the more willing players are to take the pay cut. The shittier your team is, the more they want to be paid. Bradley Beal. So you look at players like that and what they bring to the table. And if they're going to be young and you can cultivate them, right? And like, yes, if they're going to take an extra year to develop, cool, no problem. We got time. We're not winning the chip next year, right? We're not winning the chip 2 years from now, right?
But we are also adding.
Hey, hold on now. We don't know.
We're adding, but we'd be adding more draft picks to that as well every year.
Yeah,
you'd be adding
that is why you cultivate the talent. That's why you cultivate the talent.
You know what else we're adding
now,
Cooper
and
Flag.
you use those trades. Yes, I'm all for Cooper Flag, but you cultivate the talent you've got right now, right on top of the picks in this draft, and then you pair that up. You increase their trade value overall because you pick 7-14, right? Like, okay, you're picking at 7, and if it's a bust, it's on you. But if it succeeds, if it's 40%, 50, 60% of what people thought they were going to be at that point of the year at the trade deadline, you're pairing up a guy who is supposed to have gone top 10, right? Top 7, top 5 with Jock Landale and potentially future first round picks in a huge deal to get a massive player that's going to help us be on the cusp of, like AK's alluding to, maybe winning a chip 2 years from now.
Yeah, you got to hide him in the G League like a Patriots backup quarterback and trade him.
He's not wrong though. How much? Look what OKC is doing. Look at all their currency they've got, man. And they just got Alex Caruso for garbage, bro. I'm stunned. Right? How can
they're gonna have a problem though? They're
gonna run out of money real soon. Those veteran pieces are in trouble.
Of course.
Whenever Jalen Williams needs to be paid, you're already going to have Shea on a max.
Shea got to be paid. You got too many of those guys that got to be paid on OKC.
But I think a lot of what they did is what you're talking about. Is they had those guys kind of stashed in the G League, and they were good players. Wiggins, Dort, all those guys, and they had small roles, and their value were actually quite low. I mean, they could have gotten rid of them for their potential, but nobody was going to get them and pay them big money. not right away. They're going to find out what they have in them, just like Chicago's doing.
Yes.
So
I think they was undrafted though, wasn't they? Wasn't Dort undrafted?
Dort was undrafted.
Dort?
Yeah, Lucas Dort was undrafted. I think Aaron Williams was
but
undrafted.
you get what I'm saying. They were developing people.
Yes.
They got Isaiah Joe. They got Isaiah Joe from Philadelphia. Who Philadelphia wasn't not playing. Now he's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league at percentage wise.
Yes,
right. And he's not going to demand a ton of money, because that value was just kind of limited to a role player. And I think that's similar to the Rockets. Everybody talks like they can't pay him, but Tari and Bari might not be. They're not asking.
Yeah, they're not. I don't think they're going to be max guys like that.
Not.
And that's the thing. Like, I think there's a problem in the fan base where people just think it's either you're a max player or you're a bum. Like,
guys,
bro,
tell him, AK. Okay,
there's some in between in there, man. Like, not everybody got to be a max. No, the whole 4-6 cannot be a max.
Okay, but would y'all give Bari like 4 years, 110, 120?
Yeah.
Yes.
I would. Next
year. Now y'all say, I'm a Bari fan, and I wouldn't even do that right now. I need to see year 3. I'm a Bari.
He's been making $30 million 4 years from now. It's not that big a deal. It's not that much of a cap.
He is having an upwards trend. That's a good thing.
Yeah, he is.
I like Bari, but that would be nice. We got Tari sitting behind him, so he can start.
Bari, who's getting paid more.
But
Tari needs to start at some point.
Exactly, but he's not going to demand that big money either.
Yeah,
These guys aren't going to be putting up 15 points a game. They're not going to be putting up, but maybe double-digit rebounds and some defensive effort and knock down some threes.
Okay, but what my question is
going and Sengun's going. There's not a lot of balls to go around for these guys.
Yeah, hear me out though. Who would y'all pay more? Because the way I see this, Tari's a defensive freak. He's so good on defense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Jabari is so good at anything. He's a good all-around player, but I don't think he has like one great specialty like Tari does with defense.
Right.
Yeah.
His specialty is versatility.
Yeah, I was gonna go there. Yeah, he's very versatile. He's very malleable. You can play him in all kind of.
Yeah,
he
yeah. We were talking about
3 to 4 and 5. He's guarded 1 through 5. Like he just makes a whole bunch of different lineups work because he can do something damn thing.
Can't Tari do that? Tari.
Okay, so we
defensively, offensively, I don't know if I want to put him in a
Tari can do it defensively. I think he can match up with 1 through 5, 1 through 4 defensively. I think he can do it.
He's stronger than Bari. We've seen what happened when Bari was in the 5.
He just shoots low volume on threes.
Hey, when Bari was at the 5, that whole offense it looked like the offense was unlocked.
Yes, because Bari is at that stretch position. Yeah, we got to tap into that a little bit during the season, but I don't think we need to pull away.
And remember, we was doing that with a bunch of guys hurt. Tari, there's so many different lineups that we played, and we just look at them lineups like, man, if Tari was in this lineup, how would this look? We could have won a lot of games if Tari was in some certain lineups.
I said that yesterday on the pod.
Watch your words, AK. You know, they're Sengun fans.
Hey, man, I ain't ducking no smoke from nobody. Never have, never will. Anybody can do it. I ain't running from nobody. We can have a conversation and be respectful, or we can be disrespectful. Hey, man, I'm versatile, man. I'm versatile.
He said versatility. That's what we pay me for. Okay, Jabari, calm down. But look, here's our thing, though. Is we named Jabari the locksmith for a reason. Do you see what that boy did to Giannis when he's locked in?
Yeah.
I've seen Giannis get bullied twice like that. Twice. And Jabari beat the out of him that game. I don't know what John Lucas said to him. I don't know what John Lucas was in his ear saying. I don't know what was going on. But whatever it was, I mean, it was the way he was used. Did you see that? Yeah, I mean, you saw the energy, the life, every.
Hey, we undefeated with John Lucas as a head coach.
To what, baby?
We undefeated with John Lucas as a head coach, man. We undefeated.
So what we saying?
In the back, man.
So what we saying, coach?
So say what?
So what we saying, coach?
John, what you mean? I'm just being funny.
Yeah, man. So this brings me to the thing, right? You were saying who you paying more between Tari and Jabari. One thing's for sure, Jabari's been a starter his whole time there.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Tari has not. And regardless of how you want to feel about Tari, you could slot Tari in that 4 spot. He's versatile. And the fact that we haven't slotted him in that 4 spot as a starter and moved Jabari to the bench says everything I need to know.
He was playing the 2 when he was healthy. Remember, he came in and played against New Orleans.
Sometimes he'll come in and play the 2,
Yep.
That's one thing I like about Udoka is he'll give you a chance at different positions that you haven't probably played too much at. I like that about him.
Right.
So, but again, the overall, like, we talking about, you want to pay Jabari 110. You're paying potentially Jalen 80% of the rookie max. You're paying Şengün whatever he wants to get paid. Tari Eason's probably 70 M's, 75, right? If we're being realistic. You got a men probably closer to that 100 just because of his versatility, and he's going to run point guard.
And his potential. Because you still going to pay him off potential.
And then, and then you have Cam Whitmore, who's probably going to demand the bag. Right?
We'll see.
The Rockets are giving away that much money, and I'll still be broker by the time all that money's gone.
You know?
Yeah, but we'll
might be.
I have to see what year 2 is going to bring for Cam.
And we've got a lot to think about to see what Cam is going to do in the future. For sure. But
the salary cap's supposed to jump up too, by the way. With that Amazon Prime deal, the salary cap supposed to jump up.
Yes.
That's what I was saying about the Jabari deal. You're paying him $30 million. You know, $30 million in 2028 is going to be like 15% of the cap.
Yeah,
so
it's
not going to be that big
like
deal.
that. When you put it in that context, some of these bigger numbers that are big now, they're not going to seem that big down the line. Even with the Dylan contract, contract going to be like that.
That's just like 6 players though that we've named. What's the rest of our roster going to look like? We ain't got no backup point guard. We ain't got no backup small forward. We ain't got no backups anywhere, right? Except one player off the bench.
We're forgetting.
That's the problem.
The draft picks that we're going to be drafting up until that point.
So and how many of them are going to be ready to come in and play for a championship caliber team?
Okay, let's just re-sign Domantas Montezuma and call it a day, and then we grow the core 6. Why don't we do that?
I think a lot of what we're not thinking about the new CBA, guys. This is incentivizing these teams to stay at home. Oklahoma City will be able to pay some of these people because they just keep giving them little deals, and it's going to work. It really will work. With the new CBA and the second aprons, that's all trying to limit these big money teams from getting 3 contracts of max value on their teams. It's trying
to the Phoenix Suns or something.
The
Phoenix Bums, is that what you
call
all
of them?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I think with the OKC model, I think you're seeing some of the potential issues that they're running into, though. Like at some point you have a diminishing return on the value of all these guys, and you end up trading, your quote unquote diamonds in the rough for 10 minutes of Gordon Hayward in the playoffs, who is useless. I mean, it's like they just had to get off of these guys, and they needed to do something just to trade for somebody, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem when you keep, I mean, obviously you want as many talented guys as you have, but you do need to have some sort of role carved out for them, or else they're either going to lose their value, or you're pigeonholing yourself into making a trade, and you're to lose your flexibility in that sense. And I don't think people talk about that enough, because OKC is going to have to make trades because they have too much stuff.
Yes. And that's where players like the Aaron Holidays of the world, the Reggie Bullocks of the world, those guys that are willing to be paid, 3 M's or less, come into play, because for what they're making, they have the same, like, realistically, they have the same value as some of those, like you say, diamonds in the rough, because some of those guys never even reach their potential, versus getting a guy, what he is, what he's going to bring for a win now team.
Yeah, but if you tell me that I'm going to get the number 1 seed in a playoff run, and then they've still got 3 or 4 more years left of this. And if you're telling me you're giving me that, or we're going to lose some diamonds in the rough for some bad trades, I just don't. I like the value that they're going to get at 12, and then they're going to get more picks in the future that they could package to get down some of their guys in the future. I would just give me those runs. Give me 4 years of playoff basketball on the Rockets, and I'll take it. You know, after that, if we make a run at the title, and great. But if we don't make the title, we don't win the title, then yeah, it's probably going to be time to start selling off anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Remember,
that's a good point because you can never have
it took
you
the
can never have
Celtics
too many
and the Nuggets 8 years in their rebuild to win the
Right.
title.
See,
I think that's a reasonable window.
And things
A
had
lot
to
of
break
people
right.
do the 3-4
lot of
years
things had to
thing
break
and
right.
start blowing it up.
and they had
yeah,
major
true.
injuries that derailed some of their stuff too.
True that.
But
True that.
also equally, they had a lot of injuries that helped them get to where they were at. You know,
Right.
That's true.
Now,
but you know, it worked, and that's the model I think that we should follow. Like you guys are saying, the Nuggets and Celtics, they kind of got that laid out. They got a lot of wings, they got a lot of versatility, and they've got someone at center that can kind of do it all. That's the model, and obviously, like, I mean, you had the best center in the league for the Nuggets, and then you had, I mean, literally, probably the most all across best team in recent history, right? Probably, like looking at the Celtics, the way that
Best
every
starting
position was useful at something. Most players could do everything. I mean, Drew Holiday had 11 rebounds in the finals.
Yeah.
Bro, what did you do? Why is you
all defensive second team back in their backcourt starting?
Yeah,
AK.
yeah, and Derek White, yeah, man. I mean, they had a lot of pieces that did everything that was necessary, but a lot of them also were on good deals. Like Xavier Tillman, I thought he was still over with the Grizzlies. I was wrong. He played phenomenal in his minutes. Like I was stunned. And dude is only 25, by the way. I don't know if you guys know. He's 24,
he just
25 years old. He is as old as I am. I'm sitting at home talking about him. This dude out here playing in the finals got a ring. What is we doing? You know what I mean?
You know,
there's a lot
you know what's
there.
crazy? Cam Moore is my age. What am I doing?
Good question.
Hey, but like I wanted to bring
That's
this
what
up.
I'm
Though.
saying.
Hey, I wanted to bring this up though, but are we really convinced that even let's just say if the Knicks, you know, who got bounced by the Pacers, if they were even healthy, let's just say if the Pacers were even healthy, are you still convinced they still beat Boston? Are you still convinced that Boston was not the better team?
No.
Boston had a walk to the playoff, to the finals.
I think
Boston had the easiest
part of
road to win a
team.
championship of all time.
They
They were the better team all year long. Boston was better team all year long.
The only two teams.
Yes, they were the best team in basketball all year long, and I still think
from start to finish.
they would. Yeah,
The
I
only
just don't
Y'all
think
aren't
it was
saying anything about the fact that Luka had to get all them playoff miles and had to run through screens and everything to get there. So when he got there, Boston was way, way more healthy. They had plenty of.
Yeah, I'm just going to sit here and say this: if Jimmy Butler was healthy, the Celtics weren't getting past that first round.
Yeah.
Come on, Ryan. Don't do that, bro.
Ryan.
It's the exact same thing I said last year. The exact same thing. I said the Heat are beating the Bucks. I said the Heat are beating the Celtics. I said the Heat are beating who else they play? The Bucks, the Celtics. I said the Heat are beating every team last year, and look what happened. They beat every team and got to the finals.
Yeah, but now they're going to blow it up.
The difference with that, though, the Celtics retooled from that year.
Yeah.
They actually added to and subtracted at the margins. They did it with perfection.
Jimmy Butler's their kryptonite.
Okay, tell me. Okay,
We don't know that.
okay. Hold on. Jimmy
They
Butler.
lost one game with just Tyler Herro and Bam Adebayo playing.
We
This
don't
is
know
the
that.
Miami Heat, though. That's what they do.
Yeah, Drew Holiday though wouldn't have been. You're not thinking.
Okay, Preston,
about
what were you saying, bro?
Drew Holiday to shut him down.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Gorman.
Like,
We looking at it like they,
Marcus Smart.
yeah, man.
Okay, what did Jimmy Butler do to Drew Holiday last year?
He wasn't on the team, was he?
Yeah, he wasn't on the team last year. He was on the Bucks. And guess who guarded him most of the time?
Story. That's a different defense
Yeah.
now. That's
Yeah.
a different. He was holding up all the
Really,
perimeter.
everybody that guarded Jimmy Butler was getting it. It wasn't just Drew Holiday. It wasn't like Drew Holiday was
Yeah,
stuck
but
on.
Jimmy
Bucks
Butler
play
got
a different defense
Giannis
than
guarded
Celtics
him
play
on
anyway.
No, Giannis was guarding him. Giannis was even getting bucket on. Everybody from the Milwaukee Bucks that guarded
team
Jimmy Butler was
defense
getting
is
bucket on. Everybody. It wasn't just Drew Holiday.
But the Bucks play
Yeah,
a
also
different
gotta
type of
think-
defense
This is
than
a 1
Celtics
for
play
6.
anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you also got to think about it. The Miami Heat is an every other year team anyway. They don't play great every year. They played great to go to the finals in 2020 in the bubble. Then they got fucking bounced in the first round, fully healthy by the Bucks.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone forgets that. And then yes, they went to the finals, right? In 2023 or 2023.
Yeah,
and that was great. You know, in 2022 they lost to the Celtics in 7.
They lost to the Celtics because Jimmy Butler should have gone for the layup.
But Jimmy Butler,
it don't matter what should have happened.
It only matters what did happen.
It only matters what did happen. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what though. Maybe they win 2 games with Jimmy Butler healthy. Maybe they win 2 games. But I mean, you look at how great the Celtics team was just again all year. They won 64 games, right? They went into that game that the Heat won. They were like, shit, they got Jimmy Butler. We didn't even worry. and it was like, oh, okay,
okay, but can we talk? Okay, let's just take a minute to talk about Jason Tatum being a cornball. He said it's easy every time.
What everybody hating Jason Tatum so bad? He's a champion now.
He said it's easy every time with the Heat.
Yeah, he's
look, man.
He's a cornball.
But speaking of money,
man, he's the fucking he's the Aiden Ross of the NBA.
Gorman,
how does Boston afford this? How does Boston afford this team? Tell me how they afford this team. $300 million man. Tell me how they afford it. If we can't afford 6 whatevers, how do they afford this? They got more than 6.
Here's the thing, though.
Okay, you
they got what they wanted out of it anyway already.
True. What's that?
They got what they wanted out of it anyway.
Right.
So whether they can afford it again or not, they're good.
They got to pay Tatum now, and now they got to pay White. And they're going to have to pay Tatum at least what they gave Jaylen Brown, or he's going to go talk.
Oh, Tatum getting the entire max. I think it's 3.
They also got to pay Kristaps Porzingis, guys. This was his last year on his contract.
Oh yeah, that's true.
He just got done making $35 million. You tell me he's
championships ain't cheap,
and he won a Mickey Mouse ring.
I agree, but like they got to chip. You know that as much as I hate the Celtics.
I mean, I think if you win, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
I take one, it all blows up, and I don't care.
Yeah, I agree.
But they supposedly built themselves a sustainable, team. I get a lot of questions on how they're gonna pay that, because it's just I know Derek White's gonna command 135 at least, and then they already got Drew Holiday. He's gonna be over 125. I just don't see it. But if they do it, well, I guess they're going to be a second apron team, and they won't be able to trade out first round.
There's one person the Celtics need to re-sign more than anyone else. Joe Mazzulla.
Yeah.
Damn, is that guy a good coach?
Man, they sure wasn't saying that beforehand, though.
They didn't say that last year. They didn't say that last year.
I think that's the principles of Udoka. I really do believe that.
Bro, this is Udoka's ring anyway. We're not going to talk about it.
I thought they played. I thought he was.
You're right.
How are we going to sit here and talk about how
I thought it was Mazzulla.
Calling, man. I think that Boston was one of the best teams ever created by Brad Stevens. You give him Mazzulla credit is I don't know. I gotta say, there's a lot of coaches in the chip with that squad, guys.
Man, you can have ingredients for gumbo. You got to come out with the gumbo and not ice cream.
Correct.
He made the gumbo.
Right.
True. Very true.
Well, I thought that they played lazy too in the first rounds. Like I didn't think they were sharp at all until the finals. In the finals, they were very crisp. But they were really playing with their food in the first 3 rounds.
Who, the Celtics?
They was bored, bro.
Yeah, the Celtics.
There's something to them being bored. Like, man, we need to get because you got to remember they've been to the Eastern Conference Finals how many years? Like to them, like that's nothing. They wanted to get back to the finals and finally, solidify themselves as champions because they've been through the gambit already for so many years.
Yeah, but playing with your food shows coaching. Your coach has got to level these guys up.
Oh no, I'm with you on that. But at the end of the day,
all I'm saying.
Once you get that ring, how much else can you say to them?
Right. But that's Boston too, though. Boston's going to be staring at all those guys again, looking for a title next year. So you're not going to get away with it in Boston. I get what we're saying. True. Yeah, we'd love one in Houston, but we also don't have 18. So the difference is that they're going to be like, hey, y'all just won one. And you're bringing everybody back. We want another one. They have
a versatile foundation, though. I mean, between Tatum and Brown, they can do a lot. They can incorporate a lot of different pieces to how they build their team because those guys can fit so many different models. They can fit with pick and pop centers. They can have rim runners. They can have, defensive first point guards. They can have shooting point guards. I mean, they cover a lot.
Versatility,
and I think that what's
Right.
that?
Versatility, huh?
Versatility is the name of the game.
All right.
So Slaughter, continuing off that, how can Houston take what the Boston Celtics did to win and players that they developed and take that formula and bring it to Houston? Like, what can we do? What can we steal from them specifically that are going to be big key proponents going forward?
I mean, I think I really do think it'll be a lot more difficult for us because I think that a lot of our players are it's like they are missing one thing. And I think that therefore it becomes more difficult. But also, I mean, part of the problem is we haven't developed this like hierarchy yet. But we also have a lot of unique pieces. Like Şengün is a unique piece. Whether you think he can be the best player on a championship team or whatever, his defensive limitations do provide team building issues. And the fact that he's a center and he's your best player also provides team building issues because center is the most replaceable commodity in the league. And so we don't have the option of getting a cheap center to help fill out a roster. We have to go get cheap wings or cheap point guards, and that's a lot more difficult. I think guys like Cam and Jabari, they have versatility that would go, beyond all pales. They can fit with any type of roster construction.
For
Guys
sure.
like Amin and Jalen, and even Tari to some extent, I think they're a lot more nuanced, and you have to be more creative in how you're going to integrate them into a team and have them be around in the long term. So, I mean, I think you can take some of the things from Boston, but the problem is that, Amin and Jalen are some of our more talented guys. So you want to be able to fit them into how the team is constructed. So how do you do that? I think it's just going to take some creativity. I don't think we're built like Boston. I think we're built more like OKC. I think OKC has a similar problem. Like I think Jalen's like an undersized 3. Shea is a big 1, but he's super skinny, and also he's not really a traditional point guard. He doesn't get assists, and he doesn't have like amazing court vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Chet's like their big flexibility piece. He's like the guy that kind of is the glue for the whole thing. And I'm not sure we have that piece. But to answer your question, I'm not totally sure. I mean, I have a vision for what I would do, but that doesn't mean, but it also doesn't involve total flexibility. I mean, Şengün is the weird factor, I think, in all of it, to be honest with you. I know people are going to hate me for that, but
so no, continue with Şengün. Why do you think he's so weird? I'm very interested. This isn't a take that very many people are able to go in depth on because everyone's so scared of the Rockets community and getting booted out of them like they're so please, Slaughter, go on with that. I'm very interested.
Well, so I think if with Şengün, like the reason that I like SAR so much, particularly for us, I'm not all that. I know some people think he can be like the best player on a championship team. I don't think that, but I think that his value to us would be really, it would be so high because of Şengün's deficiencies on defense, and he does exactly what we need to do, right? Yeah. And I think that you would. That is the type of piece that you need in order to have Şengün be around long term. He would be like our Aaron Gordon. I think, but I also think Amin can do some of that stuff too. But I don't know that if we want to play him at the 4. I always think Amin's like little Draymond. I think that's ultimately going to be his role in this league. And I think he's the key to unlocking a lot of this stuff. But I just don't know if we're going to play the 4. But I also don't know that he can rim protect like Draymond could, because I don't know if he's going to be like big enough. I don't know if he's going to fill out like that.
Enough, you know what I'm saying? But
he has that ability where he can rim run. He can make the playmaking from the short roll. But that can help shift away in the downside of his lack of shooting overall.
Slaughter, I'm not here to debate with you or anything, but is there any chance that like some delusional Rockets fan, like, or maybe like Alex Sarr paid you to say this?
Why? I don't understand.
Because Alperen Şengün is like 1 of 1.
What do you mean by that?
I see what you're doing, dog.
No.
Because Alperen Şengün is just that guy, bro. He's so good.
Ooh,
Well, I'm not. I mean, I
I'm
agree,
not
but he
shooting
has.
shots. I'm on my first take type of timing over here, bro.
Sure, but so
Like-
the thing with Şengün to me though is that he does need some rim protection to make an effective defensive ecosystem. Right?
What did he do to Wemby, bro? Did you not see what he did to
That's one
Wemby?
guy. That's one guy.
Yeah, but I mean,
It's
we gave up
Wemby.
He did chat
we
like
gave up
that
a
too.
lot. We gave up a lot of
Yeah.
alley oops this year. A lot of alley oops.
We did.
Sabonis.
We did.
And
I mean,
That's
and
a team
and
thing.
to
Alley-oop
add
thing,
on,
that's a team thing. That's a team defense problem.
true. But to add
Exactly.
on to what
It's
Slaughter
3
is
points.
saying,
It's a team defense breakdown.
to what
Alfred
Slaughter is
Şengün
saying,
does not get that defensive breakdown badge. I promise you that.
to what Slaughter is saying, look what Jonas Valanciunas did.
Okay, yes, you're right.
That
But
man
you put
is
Alfred
making
Şengün on the
20
perimeter,
something M's.
Alfred
Not
Şengün
just
is
him.
he's not
Not-
defending the perimeter. If you put him in the paint, he's defending the paint.
Jonas
most
goes
of
in
the
the
time.
paint. Jonas is he's a
Most
he
of
can
the
post
time.
up. Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time. And most of the time he got cooked by Jonas the last 2 years. And Jonas
I
is not
think
a man that
but-
cooks.
I think it's
Right.
interesting though. I think that Şengün got a little bit of the short end of the stick this year because we were so reliant on him as a defensive, basically the only center on the team for most of the year. And so he was gassed a lot. I know, like Joval as an example, but I felt like he had to give a lot more effort than basically anyone else on the team defensively. And so that didn't help him. And I hope that to see with Adams in the fold next year that he can be, maybe he can show me something that he didn't show me this year, which he took a big step on defense, but he's just short for a center. And anyone who says otherwise is just
6'11"?
crazy.
He listed at 6'11". He's not 6'11".
Yeah,
Okay,
he's
so
not-
let's say 6'9" or 6'10".
He more like
sure.
6'9" because Barry taller than him, and they got Jabari.
He's
listed
6'9". He can't guard on the perimeter. That's like
That's still
that's like a
whole foot taller
weird
than me.
archetype.
That's the difference between like Bam, you know what I mean? 'Cause Bam is the 6'9" center.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tall power forward. 6'9" is a tall power forward, right? And defense for the Miami Heat works so well because he can step out and guard 1 through 5. Phenomenal.
Yep.
And it's nothing on Şengün at all. But if you want to be able to step out and be able to do all that jazz and play in the paint like you do at your size, you got to be able to step out on the
I
perimeter.
guess the way I
Consistent.
see it, with the way that our team is on pace for and the way that our team is formed, we're a very offensive minded team. And we are.
Don't we only play defense?
On paper, you saying, right?
Oh yes, on paper we're
Yeah,
an
I
offensive-
agree.
Yeah,
On paper, yeah.
No,
Because
not
we had no business
like-
being a top 10 defense with this roster that we had.
No,
No.
no.
No
We,
business.
no,
no,
At the
I
beginning of
agree.
the season, we
No,
were.
I'm agreeing. I ain't trying to roast you. No, I'm agreeing.
No, I'm
'cause,
saying on paper.
yeah, on paper,
On paper, right,
we
right.
should be a top 10 offense, but we weren't. We were
I'm
actually
saying
a
on
top
paper.
10 defense.
Yeah, but
I'm saying
why
on paper, 'cause
can't-
look,
why
let's say
can't-
Jalen Green is playing top offense. Let's say Alperen Şengün is playing S tier offense. Amen Thompson. I mean, on paper, we're a very offensive minded team, and Şengün on offense is ridiculously good.
Yeah.
And if
I mean,
we're
the
playing
average
by what
one-
paper says, Şengün is.
He's got to show that he can be like a top 5 offensive unit in of himself, though. I mean, that's what he needs to be in order for us to be a championship team where he's the best player on it.
I mean, he
He
is.
gotta add that jumper, man. He gotta add that 3-point shot.
He has that 3-point shot, and he's only improving. And
Yeah,
he's
but,
also only
He
improving.
shot worse this year from
Yeah,
three,
he shot
actually,
career
but-
low.
I said he's only improving.
Well, if he's
improving
improving,
Maybe
means
it's not worse than
Not
improving.
improving means
Maybe it's not worse than improving.
But
it
also
went
the
down.
cardio he's putting in this offseason, we've all seen the cardio he's putting in this offseason. He's been in the
I
gym.
ain't seen no jump shots.
But this isn't supposed to be a
Bro,
referendum
we
on
all finna
Şengün.
get
That's not
attacked
really
by
what I
this.
was
We
intending.
finna get attacked by the mob, dog. We gotta,
Yeah, I wasn't intending
talking
that.
about this Şengün
But why
situation.
why can't Udoka scheme up a defensive package that's similar to what Al Horford did for him in Boston? And then when you talk about rim protection, you're talking about Jabari needing to step up and being that rim protector. He's long, he's tall, he's just got to get bigger and be a better rim protector. And he would be that. You could slide him at playing that 4 position. Now Horford gets cooked on the perimeter, but you know you got to hide him somewhere. And I think Udoka.
Horford, I thought.
I don't think Barry and Şengün got the
Really
best
defense,
defensive chemistry.
Right.
Yeah, speak on it.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I was going to say earlier.
It works on defense if Barry was what he was supposed to be when we drafted him. It works. It really does.
Barry's just
And-
not a great athlete.
Barry also just finished his sophomore season in the league.
Yeah,
Come on,
and he's
y'all.
still skinny. He still got to add some weight on.
Yo,
Wait,
And we'll see.
and
Barty's
rim
2
protection.
years older than me. You can't expect him to be doing great
Yeah,
things
yeah.
in the
He's
NBA
still.
yet.
Yeah,
Right.
but he need to be
Bro,
on that
we
Timmy
can't
Chan
compare
diet,
no
though, man.
6
He's slim. He
We
need to
can't
go
compare
post
no
up to
7
Timmy
foot
Chan every
athlete
week.
to you, Ron. I'm sorry. I don't mean nothing. No disrespect for that. But
Okay,
we,
no, but
we're
you're
not, we're not
right.
about to start comparing no athletic man in the NBA to the standard American man going to college. That's 22 years old.
I'm not a
Yeah.
standard American man going to college. I'm a standard American man that's going to do big things on ESPN one day.
For sure. I meant body.
We're not gonna need no ESPN, man. We got Rockets Roundtable. We got Triple R.
Hey,
We on
Yep.
Triple R.
We got Ron Robin, man. Yup.
Run that right here.
It's
Take
fine.
it.
I'll just be a good connection in the future.
Yeah,
No
for
problem.
sure.
But make sure you come back on though. Make
Now-
sure you
now-
tweet us. All of that. We
Can't forget
taking
where
all
we
the clout.
Don't
Can
forget
never
about
forget
that.
the
Bro.
clout.
Now,
Better bring
Gorman, I like what you were saying earlier, though, about how the Celtics, because that's what I was trying to get with Slaughter, right? Is what the Celtics are doing. Back to the original question, right? Asked 45 minutes ago. What we were doing for defensively, either offensively, just in general, that the Celtics were doing that worked, right? And you brought up how Jabari, if he was what he's supposed to be defensively, it would work. So my question is, back to Ryan now, is Ryan was saying how phenomenal Tari is on defense. Why can't you have Tari play that Al Horford role? That's like because if Tari's supposed to be this, and there's no disrespect to Tari, right? Houston Rockets community, don't come for me, right? But I'm just saying, if Tari's supposed to be that guy, right, that Scottie Pippen, then he should have no problem sliding in at the 4 and filling that Al Horford role. That's not a difficult role to play, and he can guard the 1 through 4, no problem, right? That's the thing, is he can hypothetically guard 1 through 4, and then sometimes those twitchy guards, it's hard, looks like, actually, before I finish my question, Ryan's got a scat. So, Ryan, appreciate you having on the show, man, for a little bit here. It's always good to have you guys, and especially my boy Ryan on here. So, Ryan, my boy, you have a good night. And I will pose this question to the rest of the group here.
Yeah, buddy.
All right. So we're doing live stream for the draft on Wednesday night. What time's the draft? 7?
Is it Wednesday or Thursday?
Is it?
Thursday.
It's both. Yeah. First
Is
round
it
was
Wednesday
Wednesday.
and Thursday? Oh, hell.
First round was Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I know I'm doing it on an 8-time rundown. I know I'm doing it on an 8-time rundown.
Yep. So you're done on Dante.
I'm
Live
good
stream
for
Wednesday
winning,
night. We'll see y'all there. Peace.
All right. Yeah.
All right, bro.
So back to my question was, why can't Tari Eason play and slot in that Al Horford role that Sir Gorman was saying? I'm just if anyone's got answers, I'm just interested.
Well, I think the problem is that Şengün's got to be Al Horford in this scenario, and that Boston had Kristaps Porzingis, which is a whole
This year
different
he had,
animal.
but back
Yeah,
then
this
he had Robert Williams was what you do.
Well, Tari would be Robert Williams, I think, more than he would be Al Horford.
So then, in that sense, why? I mean, because Rob Williams, he's 6'9", right? Tari Eason's 6'7", 6'8", and Tari's a pretty beefy man, if we're being serious. He's a very fill-out guy.
I think it's the route you take, but it's just not the most efficient use of everyone's you just have to fit in a bunch of different pieces, and everyone's got to play a very specific role in order for all that to work, I guess. But it's not that it can't work. It's not that it can't work. We have all the guys to do it. We have a bunch of pieces that fit into all these different archetypes that make up a good to great team. It's just about building the cohesion and then figuring out how do you sustain that year after year after guys leave, and who do you choose to be the foundation of what you are going forward. I think we have the guys, in theory, what they project to be right now. And I think that we have the versatility to do that, but it's like, who do you choose moving forward? I think that's what Boston has maximized by having Tatum and Brown, that I'm just not sure that we're going to have if depending on who it is that we choose.
Interesting.
I do think all 6 of our core 6 guys do play well together, though. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
It's actually the veterans that kind of throw stuff off sometimes. Sometimes Fred and some lineups was good, and then some other times it's like, nah, he got to get off the floor. Same thing with Dylan. Now, I say this. Dylan, I understand that a lot of people want him gone, and I understand why. I think some of that is because I don't think he has the best offensive chemistry with pretty much anybody really on the team.
Right.
I don't know why that is. Because if you watch, okay, I'll give you one of my favorite 3-man lineups. Amen, Jalen, and Cam. Holy smokes.
Love that lineup.
Man,
that
they
lineup,
play good.
yeah.
Really awesome lineup.
Man, they play good together. Because Jalen has improved this year. I actually would feel comfortable with him running points sometimes. I feel comfortable with that.
He did improve his playmaking. Thank you for saying that. Continue.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that
until he learns to shoot, I think he's going to have to play more point.
right. And the shot is inconsistent. He got to find some consistency with the damn shot.
Right. I mean, that's going to be
good. And he got to take better shots. Man. He don't take good. Really, he don't really take good shots.
That's another thing too. That's another thing too. Again, that AAU BS. He got to get that out of his system.
Yes.
I think I think most of it is out of his system now. I would say. I would hope so. But I would think though, man. I think we're in a good spot with all 6 of these young guys, man. Because like I said, they all do play well together, and all of them can play more than one position outside of Şengün. Unless Şengün can, stretch the floor, then he's just gonna be a strict 5. But most everybody else can play at least 2 different positions. So, and I think that's important in today's NBA. You gotta have guys that can play different spots, man. If you're gonna have one guy that can only play one spot, he got to be damn good at that one spot. And I think Şengün is that at the 5, scoring the ball.
I agree.
So I think we are in a good spot. It's gonna come down to experience and who plays well together in the playoffs. That's why we needed to make the playoffs this past season. But next season, it is very important because you see what happened with look what happened with Dallas. Look what happened with OKC. In Dallas, THJ, Tim Hardaway Jr. he got benched, and they talking about getting rid of him. What's his name? Josh Giddey. He got moved out the starting lineup. It was curtains for him. He's in Chicago now. We got to find out if any of these guys get ran off the floor. Because if you get ran off the floor in the playoffs, just know that you're gone. It happens to everybody. Like this happens every season. That's why dudes get traded.
Yeah,
you can't play in the playoffs. What I'm gonna do with you?
And that's probably why these 2 guys ain't getting extended that are due for extensions this year. It's because
we ain't make the playoffs. If we would have made the playoffs, I'd have been all right. I'm good with them. I'm good with them.
I'm excited for what, like, I'm not the biggest Jabari guy, but the one thing that he did work on a lot, like, I feel like he obviously got better from his first year to second year, made an enormous leap, but he improved his flexibility, and he obviously spent a ton of time doing that because he's not the most fluid athlete. Improving your flexibility can help that. So he focused on that a lot. I think if this offseason he puts that exact same focus on strength and being able to rebound the ball better and being able to be a more physical presence down low, that is going to unlock a ton of things because our problem, I think, me personally, is that we are a short team and that he is the only person that really has like above average size at his position. Unless Jalen plays point guard, then he would too. But that would be the whole key, I think, in order to having the cohesive team that we need. I think we need him to break out and to be, a dynamo in his role.
Interesting.
One thing I loved about Jabari, and I got to say this because, I don't think it does him any justice on his percentages, but he was a great last second shot clock guy. They could just throw it to him. He could shoot over everybody. And so when there was a late clock or when it was starting to wane down just a little bit, I noticed that there was a lot of guys that used him as a good safety valve. And that's one thing I love about Jabari. He can get that shot over anybody. And late in the clock, he kind of bails these guys out when we don't say anything. We just say, oh, it was a good shot by Jabari, when really it was 5 seconds left in the shot clock and Jalen didn't have nothing or Fred didn't have nothing. He just swung it to Jabari, shot over whoever it was, and it saved him. And I think that's a tough thing. If he can up that percentage over 40, man, and put some weight on and become some of that big rim protector, we're working with something. But I really do. You're right. You're absolutely right. It matters what
I want to elaborate on that too. I do want to elaborate and take it further for what you said. I thought is also I want to give credit to Jabari Smith on knowing how to use his frame to shoot over guys. And give credit to Ime Udoka. I mean, he got when Jabari was in the post against some small guys, you seen the guys immediately get the ball to him, and he started using his size. So he done a great job with that last year. Like Chris said, he started using his size. He started posting up them little guys, and he started just shooting over them. And he had a great shot between the free throw line and the mid-range shot. He definitely improved on that. And that pull-up jump shot that he dribbled up the court with, he had that was looking good pretty much last year. So he definitely improved on some stints that we didn't see the last couple of years.
For sure. And it's going to be really interesting to see what year 3 is going to be about. I mean, like, I almost want to say it's unfair, but it really seems like that the guys that came after Jalen and Şengün, they're not going to have the same opportunities to express how good they can be if they don't start. Like say next season, Tari is regressed for whatever reason. Say he's just a little bit worse, and his field goal percentage goes down. Right?
Hypothetical.
He can't. Yep, hypothetical. This is all hypothetical. It's not true. It's not going to happen. We love Tari. Tari's going to be he going to be improving. He's good, but hypothetically, if Tari regresses and he can't make those layups anymore, right? He's still going to be good on defense, but then now we've got like 6 guys on the team that can't shoot or can't shoot consistently, right? Or make baskets consistently. That's going to be a problem, right?
Yeah.
If him and Jabari don't have that same marginal improvement, I don't think they're going to get the same good graces that, and I know like Jalen Green hasn't had like good graces, but he's been given the chances to make up for that last, his second season, we just chalked it up to, Smiley messing everybody up, right? And then last season, it was March that saved him. March saved him, right? If Tari and Jabari have, say, 3/4 of a down year next year, right, this coming season, going into the next season, are they going to have the same, what's the word I'm looking for, like flexibility to say, oh, well, they'll be back to their old selves, especially Jabari. Like if he regresses at all next year and say he's inefficient, he doesn't have that confidence, he can't hit that joke move, what conversation is going to happen?
It's a very important year for Jabari, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
I think, like I said, I think Tari's safe. I think Tari's safe almost no matter what. But I think this really determines if Jabari is going to get that contract this year.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think he's going to get that year 4 wait and see, well, what can he do? No, I think this year is going to be the, hey, Jabari, if you want to make some money, you need to produce right now. We're trying to make the playoffs. You don't get the same same thing as Jalen Green, where it's like, okay, that's all right. Yeah, you're doing bad. We'll just play you on the bench and almost expect a contract no matter what, almost.
But this
Jabari,
goes right back.
It
goes right back to Slaughter's point, though, because that's the team building factor. If Jabari doesn't work out, it's not like we got any 6'10", with all that wingspan that can shoot over guys like that. Mm-hmm. That we could plug next to Şengün. You start messing with our rebuild. I mean, like you said, they all fit together. They all fit together great. But if one of them starts to wane a little bit, we can see some real problems in Houston, guys.
Yeah.
Because if Bari's not knocking down shots, then what? You got to put Tari in there, and then now you're going with two big lineups with Adams. And I mean, we just don't have the versatility if one of these guys don't work out. It's a big year for every one of them.
Yes.
Every one of them is going to decide whether they get paid. And it's a big year, in my opinion, to Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks. I'm on the trade Dylan bandwagon because I think we have more money that we could use that. We could use that money better. We can use more money than a $20 million Dylan Brooks, guys. I mean, there is that's a bad value now. We had to overpay last year. We don't have to pay this year. We don't. We're not in that same position. We're attacking for the playoffs. And if Fred VanVleet doesn't, really, he's our point guard that's supposed to bring us to the playoffs. If he doesn't,
in all fairness, though, as far as Fred VanVleet supposed to be bringing us to the playoffs, in all fairness, man, somehow we 41-41 with injuries in a historically great Western Conference.
Yes.
Yep.
I mean, it's only getting better, though. It's only
Yeah,
getting
But that's
better
my
next year.
point. That's
Yeah, and
it's
exactly
only
my
getting-
point. Did we get the
What if I
best
told y'all
of Fred
this?
Van Fleet? Did we get the best of Fred Van Fleet already? And we saw the miles that he's already had on him. I mean, if we start doing that again, if Jalen starts to struggle and we start to have the more pick and rolls, and we have to lean more on LP, we're going to be a tired team come playoff time if LP is going to have to be putting up 27, 28 for us to win. That just doesn't work. It doesn't.
Well,
what if I told y'all
that's
this,
the
though?
point. So that makes me want to pivot to what do we do with pick 44 this coming week? Because if we're worried about that, do we want to get a more ready now player with pick 44, or do we want to still get a project player for down the line?
I'd rather pick at 3.
That's a good question. There's a good question. I mean, what do we want to do at 44? That's tough, and that's what comes to my argument earlier of trading for 7 and 14, stashing them away, doing whatever what he wants to do with those, and put them in the G League in case there's an issue. You can never have too much insurance. You know what I mean?
Okay, so let's go.
Let's start to eat into profits at some point, though.
Yeah, at some point.
Let's say the Portland deal does go through, and we got 7 and 14. So them 2 picks would be, we're gonna call them insurance picks. Who are the 2 players on the roster that need to be insured?
Immediately, you want to think of the guard spot, either the 1 or the 2, but in general, the guard spot, right? You either want to grab a combo guard that can play make, or you want a 2 that can shoot. That's what you're looking for immediately.
Period, though. I think we need to period, though. I think we need
a shot blocker.
Yeah.
Fair. I think that
Rim
there's
runner.
a lot of a rim runner. Well, we already had a rim runner in Bruno Fernando, and we saw that one. But I do agree with you though that yes, we do need a screen, a pick and roll guy. But I also agree with that. I think we have a rim runner, a smaller rim runner, 2 small rim runners on our team that could work if used correctly. Again, we saw what a men look like.
Yep.
He can play that dunker spot. If they set some guard on guard pick and roll actions, throw that thing up there, man. A man is catching that. I'm afraid if a man is sitting the pick, go guard the paint. Just literally go all the way down to the paint. Don't even worry about the 3.
And if he catch it, he can make something happen with it.
Yeah, he can. He really can. And that's my thing.
And he learned that on the fly. Give him an off season.
Yep.
But he can't guard. But he can't guard the big guys of the world. He can't guard the Rudy Goberts, and trying to put that on Şengün is too much wear on his body. No,
Who needs to guard Rudy Gobert?
I think he could guard Gobert.
Who needs to guard? I know guard him.
That's what Tari is for, man. I think Tari will be.
If you put a small forward on Rudy Gobert and spread out the rest of your defense and help all over the place. That's what everybody does.
He can't guard Jokic, but man, that cross match would be wild.
You saw those teams. You saw those teams that had centers that couldn't shoot. We literally just put a men on them, and that ruined half of their lineups. That's what we did last year.
He's such a good free safety.
Or we put a men or Tari on that center back there. And that ruined half of what they were trying to do because we just guarded up on the perimeter. So
if you get bigger guys going downhill, there's not enough rim protection there. Bari has to be there on the rim protection part. And that's why I say I like a rim runner at the center position that can give us a different look. Adams can do that. He's going to set good screens and he's going to open some of these things up for Admin and Cam. But we need somebody that can really protect the rim in a pinch. And I'm not asking for somebody to protect the rim, for 25 minutes a game. I'm just talking 10 minutes to come in, kind of be like the old Robert Williams in Boston, somebody that can just kind of shut some of that stuff down. Mm-hmm. Because if we get into a position where we really badly need some rim protection, what are we going to do?
We're already in that position.
Yeah, I know. What if it was like in a playoff series and rim protection is what we need? What if it's a bunch of guys going downhill on us and getting straight to the paint and Şengün's not able to hold up?
They got to run out Steven
matchup for us.
Something they want to do?
Sure. And here's my answer to that is pick 14. You want to take Kelly Ware? I respect it. I think he's going to be fantastic. I think there's a guy that's going to be available at 14 that's going to be more NBA ready and more of exactly what we're looking for. That's going to be taller. And Zach Edey, bro. Zach Edey, man, he guards that pick and roll phenomenal. Go watch plays. He was the best pick and roll center throughout the entire collegiate.
If you gonna drop Zach Edey, though, if we gonna drop Zach Edey, we might as well just drop Klingon. We might as well just draft him. If we gonna drop Zach Edey, yes. If we gonna drop Zach Edey, just like if we gonna drop Zach Edey, the same reason we don't think Donovan Klingon is an ideal fit for this team. We just might as well just drop Donovan Klingon then.
Here's my reason for Eddie is because we're taking 7 again. Hypothetically, we're talking about
okay. You said 7-14.
Yes. Yep. So for 7 and 14, you're taking Dalton Connect at 7 if he's available, and you're taking your boy over there, Zach Edey. That shores up your guard and your center spot. That's your rim runner. That's your future guard if you need it. Dalton Connect can, playmaking is learnable. Maybe not necessarily at the super high level, but you can learn the level of playmaking. We just saw Jalen take not necessarily a leap, but we saw Jalen be able to play make on a different level. Dalton Connect, he's a scorer. He shoots. That's something we like. That solves both our problems right there. And we stashed him away in the G League. We got him for free.
I want somebody that we can go to that will keep up the pace. I love Jabari at the 5 that spread us out and then got everybody running, got Amen, like you said earlier. Cam, Amen, and Jalen in the open court. When we're playing fast, we're playing great. And I think Şengün can play fast, but I would like somebody who could add some rim protection, attack the paint, and that can still be athletic enough to allow us to play fast. I think that if you add Edey, we're slowing down. You're adding Connect. He's a little bit better in the half court, and he's athletic, but he's more weaponized in the half court. I want somebody that's going to give us some can increase the pace.
Okay, so who are you thinking? Got some names in mind?
No, because if we were thinking to go that far back, I don't think trying to draft. I think you're right with with where I would take. Ooh, that's a good question.
I got a name, but I'm gonna let you cook though, Chris.
Come on. No, go ahead. Give me a name.
Eves Missy from Baylor.
Yeah, somebody like that's very athletic.
Man, he athletic. He's super athletic.
It plays us. I mean, imagine that guy with a Tari, a Cam, a Jalen, and an Amen. Any one of those 5 get the rebound and push it. Or 4 of them get the rebound, and it's a fast break. It's transition.
Yeah, I mean, he has good points.
Let's develop into our athleticism. I think Şengün can. I think he can keep up. If that's the question. But I would rather have some rim protection that can still be athletic and allow us to play a little fast.
Yeah. Thing about Yves Missy is he may or may not even be a project. There's a scenario, there's a world where he can come in and kind of play right away. And even if he doesn't, it's cool to send him down to RGV and let him cook down there until his time comes, just like Cam did this past season.
Yeah. In that scenario, I'd love that him there.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of these guys, if we trade back, my idea of anybody that we trade back for, honestly, I think the reason for that is we are getting a piece that's probably going to play immediately, and whoever we draft is just going to sit and marinate until we really need them.
That's right.
Marinate.
Because if we're really going to trade back, I'm assuming that we're going to get a play now piece.
Yeah.
That's the only reasonable assumption, really. Because why would Ime even sign off on something like that?
True. He does have power. I forget that Ime actually does things for our team.
He clearly wants guys to come and contribute. Like now, he's you can tell from how he talked. He wants guys.
Yeah, he didn't want to miss the playoffs, man. He really did.
Yeah, man. I'm with it. I think
he's got an extra fire watching. Great.
Mm-hmm. I can only imagine how he tore into guys for not making the playoffs.
That's his voice. That's his guys.
For sure.
TJ, you got to cook on that Devin Carter point, boy. I need to hear this. I understand it, but I want to hear what you got to say. I think I understand where you're gonna go though.
So the whole Devin Carter thing, that's if we do trade down. Say we do get those picks from 7 and 14, right? I think if we're looking for guard insurance, I think Devin Carter is the way to go. He has a good handle. He does play really good defense. He is athletic. He's actually sneaky athletic.
He's the best athlete in the league.
Huh?
I heard him the other day say that he was the best athlete in this draft.
And that is a high possibility. That's also he's the son of a former NBA player as well. Yep. So I think in that regard, I think that's somebody that I was actually thinking about when Preston said guard insurance. He can play both guard positions. He played really good at Providence last season. I think he's one of the ones that no one's really talking about because they have him kind of going to the Spurs, but they kind of don't. I think that is somebody that also we could take a look at. And I think that's someone that would keep our guards on their toes.
Yeah, I mean, and then we could always just Reed Shepard too. That's always, it's the circle, like we want guard insurance, we want to get extra pieces, we could do whatever we wanted. We need a shooter. We could just cover 3 out of 4 of those problems right now and just get Reed Shepard. You know what I mean? It's possibility, But again, trading down, man. I mean, come on, Portland. Anthony Simon, 7 and 14 for our
boy.
By all means, man, you can go ahead.
If they were going to trade down to 3, they would want. Wouldn't that be the reason that Simons pair him up with Klingon and be able to have that as a player?
Nah, because they're already paying Simons. They want off his contract.
Scoot and Klingon.
Yeah, it'd be Scoot, Klingon, and Shaden Sharp.
Yep.
I think it's a little odd that that report came out that Simons was even mentioned at all. But I think Portland is trying to go a different direction, and they're trying to lead with Scoot Henderson and Shaden Sharp. And I think Simons kind of gets in the way of that. So
he's kind of ready made. He's a good player, but he's what he is.
A little interesting that he was mentioned in that. That's a lot of value to give up on the Blazers side for the number 3 pick.
Mm-hmm. I mean, sometimes when people know that you've got a glut at that spot and you're trying to get rid of somebody, they're a negative asset, and not necessarily that he is a negative asset, but the overall of trying to get rid of the guard is now like, you have to get rid of this guy. So now we want more, And I mean, Anthony Simon 7 and 14 isn't even a robbery when you say it out loud. I think it makes sense when you really sit there and think about it.
Immediately, I mean, he fills a skill gap that we have.
He can off the bench.
We get shoot
men coming off the bench with Tari and Steven Adams.
Man,
you're gonna need to pair him with some defenders too, because
I mean, that boy can defend a
he's not interested on that side.
Yeah.
Ime Udoka, I'm telling you, if these guys, if they don't D up, man, Ime Udoka gonna D up somebody's woman, dog. That's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen.
Hey, you see how quick he come off that bench and call a timeout, right? If you ain't playing on DB, see how even if you're up by we can be up 30. I saw that multiple times last year. How quick he gets up off that bench and call a timeout.
He don't let it sit.
Yep.
Facts. TJ, man, it sounds like he has something to say, man. What you got for us?
Oh man, I don't have any. You know what though? Actually, I do have something to say. I do have to say that number 1, I think that this is going to be I can't consider this a weak draft because even as we're talking about all of these possibilities and we're still talking about players who still have the potential to at least be something of somewhat good, right? So we can't necessarily say that this is a weak draft because you're still going to have your gems. You're still going to have those players that do blossom. And as I stated on Twitter, you do have late bloomers. You do have players that come in the league and not that good, or at least that's the thought, right? Who can we think of he was considered that, right? He was a project.
Man,
and he came out. Now he's one of the best in the NBA, right?
it was that guy that was traded for Paul George, right? I'm not
Paul
wrong.
George, you got Giannis.
The dude that just won Finals MVP.
Yeah. Talk about JB, man. Talk about JB, man.
But Jaylen Brown was picking the top 5 of his draft.
He was, and he was averaging 13 points a game in year 3.
Yep.
That's just a patience thing, and I think that's something that I believe the Rockets should stay the course with.
Patience.
Yeah, believe in yourself.
You gotta realize, bro, Jaylen Brown, when he got drafted from Cal, that kid wasn't supposed to be just this type of Jaylen Brown. He was notified as he couldn't shoot the basketball. He was just athletic freak. Now look what Jaylen Brown is today. That's why it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of being patient, man. It takes a lot of patience, man, for these guys to get to where they want to be, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Patience.
Not all players are gonna come out in year 3 and 4, and they're gonna be all-stars. A lot of times it's gonna take year 5. A lot of times it's gonna take year 6.
Steve Nash wasn't an all-star until what was it, year 6? And he's two-time MVP.
He's a two-time MVP, baby.
He's a two-time MVP. Come on
even
now.
though he didn't deserve him, he's still a two-time MVP. You know.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, they still gave it to him.
Hey, what they said, he stole it from Shaq, huh? He stole it from Shaq. That's what they say. He stole it.
We know a guy that's been having some MVP stolen from them too, but we ain't gonna go there right now.
I remind you.
But no, man, what's the verdict on pick 44, man? What y'all got? Do we even keep that? Do we trade that too? You know, Stone don't like them second-round picks. He only took one. KJ Martin, the only second-round pick he's ever taken.
True.
So, what's the verdict? What we doing with pick 44?
I think it just depends on our situation. What we do with pick 3, whatever
I
we do
think
with pick 3 is what we do with pick 44.
I think 44 get packaged together in the deal.
Yeah, that is also possible.
That's a possibility.
I think they should get up and go get Shed. They should go get Shed.
What if he off the board? I'm telling you, I don't think he's gonna.
I'll throw a name out there. There's this guy in I assume he has some ties to Akeem, but he plays in the NBA Africa. His name's like Ulrich Chamache.
I know who you're talking about.
And he's super young and super raw, but he's definitely got size. He can even shoot a little bit.
He's a project. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's a project. Yeah, for sure.
Guys, we haven't even talked about the best player in the second round.
Who that?
Bronny James, man.
Y'all can have that convo. Y'all can have that convo.
But look, man, if we get Bronny, we get LeBron. You know what I mean? And that's an immediate.
If we get Bronny, we get Bronny, and that ain't no insurance for LeBron to come here. He had his moment. His son was playing for the Blue Chips, which is a Galveston County team in Texas. That it could have happened then when we had Chris Paul and James Harden. The rumors were out there, and it did not happen. He was looking at some schools in Houston. I can't confirm that. He was looking at some schools in Houston, but ultimately he decided to stay in LA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I got a question though, a real guy. How do you feel about Adam Bona in the second round? 6'10", wingspan is 7'4", roughly.
Yeah.
243. Big guy, 6'10", you know.
James Piercy is high on him.
Yeah.
James Piercy is really high on him. And I think he'd be a project big at first, which again, I don't mind. Yeah, I mean,
just
why not
in the second round, right? Like,
yeah, in the second round, it's really a throwaway pick.
Yep.
But you want to hit with it. I think, I think I trust their ability to find a gem in the second round, though. Because to this day, we got the most out of KJ Martin, and nobody else. He ain't even been in nobody's rotation since.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, the fact that he didn't work alongside James Harden and Russell Westbrook with the Clippers was incredible. I thought that would be phenomenal because it's James Harden. But
he rarely played.
No, that's the thing. Is
I'm just saying he rarely played though. That's crazy. Yeah.
Who was he even going to play over?
He wasn't
At
gonna
that
play
point, I
on
don't even know who they was playing at the 4. I mean, but at the end of the day, though, he couldn't also play looking defense most times. So you ain't playing on a playoff caliber team like Josh Giddey got played off the floor, got played off the bench, and played.
I did say that.
So, yep.
But we'll see. I mean, this will be if we actually go through and pick this pick. Mm-hmm. I think this pick is probably, I don't want to say more important than pick 3, but I think it'll be really big if you can hit on a second round pick because they don't cost as much, and that's a lot of value for a second round pick. If you hit, like if you have a rotational player that can play the playoff rotation at pick 44, I mean, playoff team's gonna be calling you next summer. Like, hey, can we have him? He's cheap, and then we can be like, nah, we keeping him because he's cheap. You can have somebody else go. And that's how you drive that price up. You tell them no at first.
We don't have a second round pick next year, so it's important that we do well this year.
Yeah, second round pick next year. Wow.
We don't have very many second round picks at all.
Yeah, we got one next year.
Don't like them things.
We have like 3. I think we have 3.
We traded Ty.
We have 3 in 2026.
Hey, that's what I was about to talk about. It's funny that y'all brought up KJ Martin, which remind me of Steven Silas effed over all them people. Like Ty Washington never got a chance to really play. Josh
because of Dacian Nix.
But Dacian Nix was in the Western Conference Finals.
Oh my God!
He didn't play a single minute. Hey, he was getting his best dress on the sideline.
Hey, you saw him dancing over there, bro. Was hitting the Dougie and everything out over there.
You talking about someone? You talking about trash? You talking about trash? Dacian Nix, you talking about trash? Jesus, bro. I don't know. Steven Silas kept playing this dude over Josh Christopher.
That made me so mad, bro, because I'm like, dog.
Ty is right there. Playing him, bro.
You got a Kentucky guard right there. You don't want to play him.
Yeah, man.
But you a guard. You went to Kentucky. You played for John Calipari. Hey, I don't care what the situation is. I'm gonna put you in a rotation because you might have something to you.
Yeah.
How many dudes? De'Aaron Fox, Devin Booker, SGA. Hold on. Malik Monk. There's a bunch of these dudes in the league. John Wall. Well, he ain't.
Jamal Murray. You have Jamal Murray.
Jamal Murray.
How did I even forget about Jamal Murray? Like, there's so many of these Kentucky guards. Oh, what's that? Well, PJ Washington. He ain't no point. He ain't no guard, but he was playing a major role in the finals. Like these Kentucky players, man. Like you might want to play them. Stylist. Sitting there smiling on the sideline while you're getting whooped by
smiling and clapping.
You're not getting after it like they're supposed to. Why would they? What's the incentive? Fool?
Yeah, what's the incentive, bro?
Now you getting coaches fired
anyway.
You get your head coach fired. You that bad? Even the assistant coach, you get your head coach fired? Nah, bro. And now we understand why it took him so long to get their first head coaching job now, right? You understand now, right? Because they're like, man, he's I don't know why he's not getting hired.
It's crazy because his dad had a lot of respect in the league before.
That's what it was politics. It was politics why he even got the job.
His dad was
why he ain't get fired.
Coach,
I hate to talk like this, but if his dad
remember that was his dad passed away. I think that was the only reason why he didn't fire, and they just let him go in the off season.
Right. And I hate talking like that, but I mean, we can see we know what time it is. That'd have been horrible PR for a squad at that time that was getting the worst PR possible.
Right.
All the bad PR he was getting for players like what's his name? KPJ, he was getting bad PR. Even when he wasn't doing nothing, he was getting bad PR. Yeah. We had the situation where it was talking about Stone was interfering in practice because Silas was sitting there. I don't know what is twiddling his thumbs, trying to. I don't know.
Yeah, it was when they was in the film room, right? And Stone come in to the film room session. Yeah, man.
So, hold on, Silas had film room sessions.
Yeah, and Stone.
Yeah, Stone come in and interrupt and get pointers.
So what was Silas saying? Wait, we gotta back up. What was Silas saying in them film room sessions, bro?
Nothing.
Yes.
Hey man, that was a good play, man. That was a good play, man.
Okay, hold on.
Hey, you
Now,
see how they made that bucket? Hey,
hold on now. Now, was it film room sessions or was they watching like movies and stuff like Netflix or Lion King or something?
They were watching The Land Before Time in there. That's what they were doing.
Probably, yeah. Like
y'all remember when y'all was in? Okay, hold on. I'm younger, but I bet y'all remember this. When they blew up
Watching
the
Zoe
cart
101.
and they got the TV in your history classroom because it's a substitute teacher.
yeah.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Yep.
That
man.
was a substitute teacher.
Yeah.
Bill Nye.
You know what I'm saying? You
Teaching
in there
class.
acting a
Bill
fool.
Nye.
Now all of a sudden they're gangster now because the substitute teacher is black. Like, yeah, that's what was happening in film sessions, bro. They wasn't watching no basketball. They watching Lion King. They watching what is it? Men in Black.
Does that make John Lucas Bill Nye?
Watch John Wick or something.
Well, when your GM in the film sessions have to take over the film session, boy, that's a problem. That's a legit problem.
That's a bad sign. That's a bad look on a coach.
This is what players like Shingun and Jalen Green had to deal with. This is what they had to deal with, bro.
Yeah, they did.
And Atari to a lesser extent. This is what they had to deal with.
You know, can you only imagine how Eric Gordon felt?
No. Eric Gordon was probably in there like, man, I'm the only one in here that can drink, and I want to drink right now at practice, and I can't. I know he wanted to go get shit-faced in the locker room.
Every single game, bro. I mean, we saw what his effort was looking like all that second season, or that second season with Smiley, man, and it was just terrible. And then we saw after what was that Kings game, bro didn't even give it no more. He was just found. He just wanted to get.
He's watching Jabari and Jalen from the box. He's just like, oh, all right, y'all gonna do that?
He's like, all right.
That boy he ain't care about nothing. He was like, man, bro. He probably called Stone at halftime, like, hey man, you gonna have to trade me. I ain't dealing with this.
Eric Gordon requests trade mid game, bro. Dead ass though.
Man, we had players like KJ requesting trades. Like, what the hell? KJ requesting a trade? You a second round pick? You not even a starter. You go.
No, but that was his dad's fault, though, bro. That was his dad's fault.
I know that was his dumbass dad. Kenyon Martin,
his dad was talking about something.
Because his dad wanted him to be a starter. He felt like he should have been a starter. He should have started.
Guess what? Now you ain't even playing no more. How about that? How about that? You ain't even playing no more.
He went from I can't even start on a 6-win team to I can't play at all in the NBA.
He ain't playing at all no more now.
Remind me of the boxer who daddy used to box and now he a coach and he can't stop running his mouth getting his son beat up every time he step in the ring.
Facts. Tell him. Oh man,
I'm sorry.
That's funny, man.
My help, bro.
That's funny, bro. Because when you brought up Steven Solid, bro, it made me remember. Like every time this man called a timeout and the players sitting down, they not even paying attention to him. They not even looking at him. They not even paying attention to him.
Them boys out there, they catching Pokemon in the sideline. They don't care nothing about what's happening.
Hey, we get beat by 30. Hey, like AK said, we getting beat by 30. He sit up there smiling and clapping. We get beat by 30.
Last night we got beat by 40, man. We only losing by 32 tonight, man. That's improvement.
That's a win. I know, right? That's the type of speech he'll probably give. And wonder why Josh Christopher making fun of him on the sideline behind his back, throwing up rabbit ears behind his head. Oh man!
I'm gonna clip this boy. Hey, I'm gonna clip this boy.
My mental health took a step back during them silent years. I don't know how long I'm supposed to live, but I know it got cut by 10 years.
Oh boy! Whoa, guys, is that it? It's 9:40. It's late. We all tired. I know, man. Christopher looked like he done with us, man. He's like, man, bro. He's
man, it's been crazy. It's been crazy out here, man. It's been crazy. Little League State Championship, man. Y'all
respect that, man.
I'll give my youngest son. I'm gonna give him some love. He's been really working into that, so that's why.
Some love from the group, man.
That's living the dream. That's living the dream as a father, man. That's awesome.
Yes,
that's awesome.
It is. If we win state next weekend, then we'll go out to Louisiana for the Little League World Series. So
Nice. Well, good
All
luck.
right. Congratulations.
Don't get
Hopefully
no
we all
Kenyon
get
Martin
there, man.
out there. Don't do that.
yeah,
Don't do that. Please don't. Let's trade to the other team at halftime. Boy. Man, I want to go play with them now.
Oh boy. Well, guys, I think we're gonna do this again. This
Yeah,
Rockets
we're doing
round
draft day
robin
too, huh?
was
For
fun,
sure.
man.
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
do it.
the
All right,
H-Town
Draft day?
H-Town rundown is going to be a draft day, a little draft day thing. I won't be a part of it, but Dante and Ryan are hosting. It's going to be really fun. I believe we're doing it on. I don't know if we're going to do it Wednesday, Thursday, but I know for sure Wednesday to knock out the first round and see what's going on, guys. But thank you for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me.
So
I ain't
yeah.
gonna lie, I'll probably do second day if possible.
Okay.
There we go. There we
Yeah.
go. There we go. I like it, man. I like it. So,
I'll be here
all right,
day
guys,
one.
we got
Yeah.
yes, sir, man. We got a lot to talk about here. And it was really fun, interesting discourse we had. But of course, we get a topic as a bunch of brothers do getting together. So let's start off with our boy Dante and just kind of go around here, talk about where we at. So Dante, man, I know you got a YouTube, I know you got Instagram, I know you got an X account. Where can I find you, man? I'm trying to plug you in.
Man, y'all can find me at Coach Dante 5 on Instagram, man, where I promote high school athletes and put the H-Town rundown, the funniest moments, but this definitely gonna be a funny moment that I'm gonna post on Instagram. Y'all gonna see me posted on Twitter. Y'all can find me on Twitter at Coach Dante 31, Coach Dante on YouTube. So y'all hit me up, and Coach Dante right here at H-Town rundown, and the Rockets round robin too. So y'all gonna find me over here.
Show, man, for sure. Hey, man, TJ, man, you the Clutch City Connect guy over there, man. Where else can we find you?
Hey, you guys can follow. Excuse me. You guys can follow me on Instagram. I am Andy Ty BOI. You can also follow me on Twitter at TJ Anderson NBA. You can also follow me on YouTube. Clutch City Connect. Just type it in, baby. We'll come up. Also follow my main man, Aaron Patterson, AP, King Beer 713 on Twitter. You can also follow the Twitter Clutch City CNT 23. And just reach out to us, baby. We there.
For sure, man. Appreciate you, man. It's good having you on the channel. Mr. Gorman, man, where can we find you, brother?
Hey, man, just check me out on Twitter. I'll start being around the scene a little bit more here. Maybe start shouting out to some of these other podcasts around me here, huh? I appreciate you guys letting me here on the H-Town Rundown. It's all love. It's all respect. We love our Rockets.
For sure, man. For sure. Thank you, man. We appreciate it, man. It's good to have you on the channel, man. AK, man, I know you didn't win the game. We didn't win the game when we had you sent to the tickets, man. But where else can we find you? Where can we find you at?
Man, find me on Twitter at AKinfinity_VVS. I'm on YouTube as well. The Rockets Propaganda channel on YouTube, talking all kind of Rockets propaganda, good, bad, ugly, indifferent. And I might roast another team or two, especially the ones that live in Oklahoma. They claim Texas.
For sure, man. And Mr. Slaughter, brother, thank you for coming on today, man. Where can we find you?
Yeah, I am but a simple man. No plugs for me. Just on Twitter at Slaughter. I watch all you guys, and listen to all you guys. And we got a smart group here, a bunch of different perspectives, and it's just a pleasure to be on.
For sure, man. Well, it's awesome to have you guys on. Be sure to follow the H-Town Rundown on X as well as Instagram. Hopefully, you guys are following the YouTube channel. Be sure to check it out over there. You can follow me, your main host at Preston. You can follow me at drip2ps_GAWD on Instagram, as well as my YouTube channel. I got that up with all the H-Town Rundown episodes, as well as my own streaming account I got going on for certain games. And you can follow my X account at drip_GAWD. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for listening. We're going to check y'all next time. Peace out.
Peace out.
Yes, sir.